So, Mrs. Harris, thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, it's certainly a pleasure. We're going to get right into it by explaining to the listening and the viewing public exactly what the Anti-Corruption Committee is.
Right, so the Anti-Corruption Commission was established under the Anti-Corruption Commission law, which was passed in 2008, but it didn't take effect until 2010. And the commission that was established, the responsibility is to administer the anti-corruption law. What that means is basically we're charged with accepting complaints that come in with any allegations of corruption, and where we feel that there is reasonable cause to take it forward, we will then pass the matter over to our investigators. I should say the commission is comprised of 5 members, and we also have 5 investigators as well. So once we have determined that the matter has gotten to the point where we should pass it over to the investigators, we're passing it over to those that have the real skill set to take the matter through to its logical conclusion. Our investigators have all of the powers of constable, except they can't carry firearms. And they will, liaise with the DPP's office and take the matter straight through to court if the situation warrants it. So it's been a very interesting time, obviously, for us with any allegations of corruption. And I should say we're also mandated to deal with things on a proactive level as well. So if we as a commission believe that there is something in the public arena that suggests there may be corruption, then we can launch our own investigation and start the matter without a complaint being provided to us. The levels of corruption, obviously, it will involve public servants for the most part. But it can also involve private individuals and private entities. But for the most part, it tends to focus on public persons. It's broad in its scope. It can encompass attempts at corruption, and it can also encompass conspiracies for corruption offenses. And having said that, I think it's very important that I mention, especially when it comes to public servants, if they are aware of any corruption, they also have an obligation under the law to report the matter to the Anti-Corruption Commission. Otherwise, they could possibly also find themselves being caught in the net under the legislation. So that's something quite important for public servants to keep in mind.
Yeah, speaking of mentioning the word important, why is it important to have such a commission in place for the general public and for the country on a whole?
The impact of corruption on a global scale, and for any country, it not only affects the confidence that one has in their government, it erodes your very infrastructure, your confidence in the public servants that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and any sort of money or administration that will affect the lives of individuals. You want to have confidence in them. So it's important that any person dealing with the government has the confidence that they are trustworthy and the level of public confidence is warranted.
Okay. Tell us about the International Anti-Corruption Day.
Right, so the International Anti-Corruption Day, it's going to be celebrated on Wednesday, the 9th of December. It's celebrated every year. The United Nations does this to basically bring to, on a global level, the importance and awareness of the battle against corruption. This year, the United Nations decided, taking into account the pandemic, the global pandemic, and obviously the economic hardship that it's caused to just about every jurisdiction in the world, it decided that they would have a theme this year of recover with integrity. And so it's very apropos. So hopefully all the countries will bring that public awareness of the battle of anti-corruption.
So what is the UN's Convention Against Corruption?
Right, so that convention is also as effective as of the 9th of December. It's going to be extended to the Cayman Islands for the first time. This is a significant milestone for Cayman. It's been 10 years in the making. It's being extended to us via the UK. And it is the only legally binding universal instrument in the fight against anti-corruption. There are 185 countries that participate, and so what it now means for Cayman, being a participant with those 185 countries, is that we now have a framework within which we can work with all of these other countries to get information. There'll be a structured, efficient means of getting information, exchanging information, getting technical assistance, asset recovery. Basically, it's a powerful tool to our arsenal in the fight against corruption. So we're hoping, well, we know moving forward, it will mean that we'll operate in a much more efficient manner where we're looking to get information from overseas countries. And certainly we know that with matters that we have in hand right now, it will be effective.
Okay, so what are some of the overall goals of the UNCAC?
Well, I think at the end of the day, apart from assisting other countries in an efficient manner to fight corruption, the importance of prevention of corruption is certainly underscored, and also the importance of ensuring that all of these countries have as much technical assistance. There's an efficient framework in place for all countries to be able to be effective in the battle against corruption.
Okay, and the ACC, how will the ACC benefit from the organization's work?
Again, because of the 185 countries that are actually involved, we're hoping that we will be able to take advantage of, as I said, a very efficient, well-trodden path of being able to exchange information and getting any technical assistance that we need, and also where the opportunity lends itself to be able to work with other countries that are trying to fight corruption, and they feel that we may have information that will be of assistance to them. Mm-hmm. So it's a very unified and efficient system that has been established to enable all the countries to participate in fighting corruption.
Now that the Cayman Islands is now part of this movement in a greater way, mm-hmm. and the day rolls around on Wednesday, December 9th, what would you like viewers and listeners out there to really know and be reminded of?
Yeah, I think it's important that where anyone has any complaint in terms of corruption, or there's any suspicion of corruption, on behalf of the entire Commission, I'd like to say, please engage with the Commission. There is the means of not only lodging your concerns. You can do it whether by calling the number, which we'll give at the end of this, or you can actually go online and submit a form and provide us with the information. If you do that, and certainly if you do it anonymously, we'd encourage you to give as much information as you possibly can. Because the problem with that is if you do it anonymously and you don't give us enough information, we can't go back and see, well, is there any real veracity to this complaint, because there's nobody to go back to. Right. So it'll be very useful if they give as much information as is possible and engage, and hopefully that they themselves will have the confidence in the Anti-Corruption Commission. I certainly am proud to work with all of the members of the Commission that I work with. There's real integrity and real dedication there. Mm-hmm. But again, to bring some confidence to the process, when we get a complaint, mm-hmm. we will analyze it. We will certainly make as many inquiries as we can do independently. And once we've decided, okay, there is veracity to this, we'll pass it over to investigators who are very, very seasoned and they're very skilled at what they do. Mm-hmm. So that brings the entire process, brings the whole process to a point where we'd like to think the public will get behind the Commission. Right. And certainly, rather than sort of sitting in their armchairs and wondering and speculating what is the Anti-Corruption Commission doing, please be engaged. As a moral obligation, and any member of the public, if they really believe there is corruption, mm-hmm. please engage with the Anti-Corruption Commission. Okay, any final words? That number that people can call, how they may contact the Commission? Right, so our telephone number is 328-4388. Feel free to call. You can do so, as I said, anonymously. It's a highly confidential number. There's also the main line, which is 244-3685. And there's also our website, www.anticorruption.ky. There we go. All right, thank you very much for that, Mrs. Harris. And I'm sure that the listening and viewing public are certainly more knowledgeable about what the work of the ACC is and how they can, help
the cause.
Please get behind us. We need the support of the community, otherwise we really cannot be effective without public support and confidence.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thank you.